Removing the bricks, and these bricks are going to come up pretty easy. You can see there's nothing behind them but topsoil, so they're not held in place at all. Now every brick you take off, I want you to keep it back about 2 feet, keep them nice and tight and straight. We can get at them easier when we go to put them back in.
So what makes sand such a bad base?
It never packs up hard. I mean, look at this. I can just take my finger and scratch all the way down through it. It never packs up and fully supports the brick. Well, these brick are coming out pretty quickly, and I'll finish this end up. Why don't you start loading that sand in the wheelbarrow? David, let me show you what we got. The door to your sun porch measures exactly 32 inches. Now, when I lay these brick out with 8 in the field and 1 edge brick on each side, the brick measures 32 inches, so it's a perfect fit for us. Now, these edge brick, when they're stood like this, are called sailors.
Why are they called sailors?
Because they look like sailors on a deck, shoulder to shoulder, when they stand there. So to support these sailors, we're going to put in a wedge of concrete. That means we got to dig out about 6 inches behind them.
And it looks like we'll have to dig on the other side too.
The other side too.
All right.
Now let me show you what we're doing. We have a new line here. That's this orange line, and that's the grade line. When our first brick is set, it wants to be right at the bottom of the door, and you can see it matches up with that string line. Now, as the line runs down, it drops 1/4 of an inch per foot. That's going to allow the water to run off and out.
That's the pitch.
That's right. Now, if you come down here to our grade line and we hold the brick up here, you can see we have quite a void underneath it where we took out all the sand. And to fill that void in, I'm going to use pack.
So that's better than sand?
Way better. This 3/4 inch stone and stone dust mixed together, once I hit it with a compactor, will be hard as a rock. But with a stone in there, it can be kind of hard to set the brick on. So for my setting bed, I'm going to use stone dust. Now we're ready for the pack material.
How do you want me to spread it out?
Just level it out. We're going for 2 or 3 inches. That's all. I'm not looking for anything special. I just don't want it thicker than 3 inches because then the compactor won't pack it. Dave, take a look at this. If I hold the brick up to the orange line, which is our grade line, you can see we have room underneath here for our 3/4 of an inch of stone dust, our setting bed. But now we got to think about our sailors. Now the sailors are going to go up against this yellow line. The yellow line is the straight line of our walkway.
And then it's going to go flush with the field.
Right, they're going to be down there. So what we're going to do is we're going to take and dig out a little bit of material and put a form in to help us set the sailors. For our form, we're going to use a scrap piece of decking. Now we're going to take and line it up with our yellow line, our straight line, and you're going to take and drive in a wooden stake. Take and put one in right behind it now. Once we get all the stakes in place, we'll lift it up to the grade line. Another one in, hold it tight to the decking. The great thing about the composite decking, it's flexible, so we can use it to make a nice curve in the walkway.
How am I doing, Roger?
You're doing great. The sailors look perfect. A lot of work though, huh?
Yeah.
Very important step in our walkway. But now it's time for the field. So what we're going to do is we're going to set down a bed of stone dust to lay the brick in. All right, just about 3/4 of an inch like we said earlier.
So are we ready to lay the bricks down?
Not just yet. We have to level and compact the stone dust first. Now, to level the stone dust, we're going to use what's called a screed, and it's just a 2x4 that I cut a notch out of, and you can see that it's a little shallower than the brick. So when I'm done, the brick's going to sit a little proud, and we're going to take and knock it down in with a rubber hammers. So I'm just going to run down this with a screed, and then we'll run over it with a tamper. Your brick are good brick. I only have one issue with them. They're not modular.
What do you mean by modular?
Well, in a modular brick, twice the width is equal to the length. And you can see here when we line up your brick that the widths do not match up to the length. They leave a big gap.
And that's where we had all the moss.
That's right. So if we repeat your pattern, we're going to have the same problem. What I want to do here is do a running bond pattern where we line the brick up that way and then the next row splits the gap. So I'm going to take and start, and I'm going to put the first brick up at the door. We're going to start with a whole brick. I'm going to tap it down. And when you're putting them in, if you see the weathered side, put it up, okay? It'll look nicer.
Roger, it is looking good.
Yeah, it's coming along, but now we're getting into the challenging part. We've got this curve that we have to take care of with some smaller pieces, because if I put a big piece in like that, look at the gap I would end up leaving. So by using some of our smaller pieces on site, we're going to set them in. It's going to help our bond, and then we'll put one more in. And we're right back to a whole piece again.
Well, those are the last two, Roger.
Now, to lock those brick in place, we're going to take and spread some stone dust out here. Grab that broom, and I want you to take and sweep this until it fills all the joints in, locking the brick together. Well, now all we have to do is finish